This is The Wheel Weaves, a Wheel of Time podcast with no spoilers. Welcome, listeners. I'm your host, Dani, and I'm the first-time reader who's going through this 15-book series chapter by chapter. As always, there are no spoilers past the chapter we are covering, and that means it's totally safe for first-time readers. I'm joined by my co-host, Brett, who's a longtime fan of the series, and he's acting as my tour guide on this journey. Before we get into things today, we just want to thank and welcome David Toole to the Wheel Weaves Patreon team. Thank you so much for your generosity, and we're super excited to have your support. In this episode, we're going to be talking about chapters 36 and 37 of The Great Hunt.
Yeah, so we have chapter 36 is Among the Elders.
Yes.
And 37 is What Might Be.
Ooh.
Yeah, and I got to put it out there right now at the beginning of this episode that chapter 37 is in my top 10 favorite chapters in the series.
Which is so funny because I hate it.
I know you did, and we'll talk a lot about why I like it so much.
Yeah, I can understand why you like it. It's very, very interesting. There's a lot going on. There's a lot of insight into characters and such. At this point in the book, these two chapters pissed me off, and I got done reading them, and I couldn't read any further, and so I'm just stuck in this, angry, upset limbo.
Yeah.
Because...
waiting.
This isn't going the way it's supposed to go.
Yeah, and it's
great. It annoyed me. I hated it. But, okay.
So I have a quote to go... So the fun fact today is actually a quote, and it's one of my all-time favorite quotes out there, and it has a lot to do with the chapter 37, and we'll talk about why. So it's from the author Louis L'Amour in 1989. He published a memoir titled Education of a Wandering Man. And there's a quote in there that I think is very relevant. So it says, "It is often said that one has but one life to live, but that is nonsense. For one who reads, there's no limit to the number of lives they may have lived." So, and it goes on a little bit more. But I think it's very important because George R. R. Martin kind of summarizes that quote in his A Song of Ice and Fire. And he says in a conversation between Bran and Jojen, Jojen says, "A reader lives 1,000 lives before he dies. The man who never reads lives but one."
Yeah.
So I think chapter 37 really opens up that question where, if you're a reader, you can live multiple lives and you can replay moments in your own life to see how you should or would have reacted. And in chapter 37, we get to see these characters live hundreds, if not thousands, of their lives over and over again. Yeah. So I think that it's going to speak volumes to who they are as people and how that's going to affect them later on down the road. Okay,
interesting. So, yeah, that's an interesting take.
We'll definitely get into it later on.
Okay, so getting into chapter 36, Among the Elders, and the picture is the Avendosora leaf.
Yeah.
And I think, okay, it's Waygate time.
We're going. We're doing it.
Yeah, and I thought it was going to be a little more difficult.
Yeah, and this is all after you were complaining about, oh my god, they're going to use the ways. It's so boring.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I know.
Well, turns out.
I know. All right, so last time our crew arrived in Steading Sofu, and they want to meet with the elders. So they also ran into some Aiel ladies in the Steading.
Yep, interesting encounter.
Of the Spear, who went on attack mode. We also learn that should Loyal be shipped back to his own Steading, he is facing a fate worse than prison.
Yep.
Marriage. Oh.
Yeah.
And he is not psyched about it.
Yeah, no, he definitely is in a bad headspace right now.
Yeah. So we pick up still here from Rand's perspective. And, turns out the elders will see us now. So off they go. Loyal is super duper anxious about this whole situation. And Rand suggests that he just sits outside and waits. And Loyal sees all the Ogier ladies who are eyeing him up.
Yeah, he's pretty much going to get pounced on here. So.
Yeah, including Aerith. But, old ladies too. All the mothers and grandmothers.
Yeah, looking out for a possible suitor for their daughters, maybe.
Yes. And so he contemplates which is worse, going in to see these elders or sitting out here with women. And he decides to stay outside and read a book.
Yeah, or pretend to read because he for sure got no reading done.
Yes. And so they all head into the room, leave Loyal outside, and there are elders all sitting behind this long table at the end of this huge, huge room. So the eldest elder is a lady who sits in the middle with 3 men to her left and 3 men to her right, and they are all super, super old Ogier with white hair.
Yeah, and you kind of have to imagine, like, what is a super duper old Ogier, and how old is the oldest?
Yeah.
Yeah, do you have any, like, guesses?
500 years.
Okay, yeah, why not?
Yeah.
We know that Loyal is, like, not even... Wait, he's 90, and he's not even, like, supposed to be let out yet, so... He's equivalent of, like, Rand as a 20-year-old.
Yeah, and that's what we get in this chapter. So that's why I say, like, 500 and, like, maybe 400 to 500.
Yeah.
If it's equivalent to people years, living to be 80 to 100.
Yeah.
Then...
Makes sense.
They live about 400, 500 years.
Cool. So that's really old.
That's very, very
really old.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's why they take so long to decide things.
But you know what? I gotta hand it to them. They really don't.
They were hasty.
They were a little bit, but, you know, they're smart, so...
Yeah. Okay. So Varen is already sitting in a chair in the middle of the room, facing the elders. And I think I missed this last time. I didn't get that Varen went off before they did, but I guess she did.
Yeah,
and that's
talk
why,
ahead of time.
That's why they were all waiting in that room.
Yeah.
Or in that house. I thought Varen was with them, but she obviously went before them.
Yeah.
Because she has already clearly explained the situation.
Yeah.
And Alar?
Yeah.
Alar?
Yeah.
Is the eldest, and she says that although their need is great, they have not allowed anyone to travel the ways in more than 100 years.
Yeah, so before Loyal was born.
Yes. So she tells them about how risky it is to enter, and Ingtar is all hasty, and he yells out about how he must find the horn.
It's kind of funny, like, he's getting angry at the Ogier, like the elders. Like, that's considering...
Yeah, you need to calm down.
Yeah, considering, like, in Faldara, how much respect, like, the Shienarans have for the builders, like, glory to the builders.
Yes.
And he's yelling at the elders.
No, Ingtar is losing it.
Yeah.
Ingtar,
he's having a bad time.
He really is. These last couple chapters have been bad for Ingtar.
And it doesn't get better.
No, it gets worse. So, Rand, Matt, and Perrin explain how they've actually already seen Machinchin, and they've already been through the ways. Yeah. And Alar says, bring in Treal.
Yeah, which is another Ogier.
Yeah, you must see what can happen. So this big old Ogier gets brought into the hall, and he needs help with, like, walking, and a woman wipes drool from his mouth, and he stands there, like, expressionless. And Alar explains that he was the last to travel the ways, and he came out like this. And then she tells Varen to touch him. So she does, and quickly withdraws, saying that he is empty, basically devoid of a soul. His body lives, but he is empty.
Yeah, so this is kind of crazy. Like, over 100 years ago, if that was the last time that they let someone in, this I would have had to been Treal, would have been, like, one of the last.
Yeah.
And then Machinchin caught him.
Clearly.
Sucked his soul out of his body, and now he's an empty shell.
Yeah.
So, like, that's pretty crazy considering, like, Fane got caught in the wind and what didn't happen to him.
Yeah. No, he got spit out.
Yeah, he got spit out.
No one, the Black One didn't want his soul.
But it's kind of sad because presumably one of those voices in Machinchin is now Treal's voice or soul,
if
right?
that's how that works.
If it's well, that's kind of how they talk about it, is like it
Yeah.
eats souls and you become part of it. So
yeah,
a little bit sad.
It's also an interesting power that Varen has to, like, sense somebody's soul.
Yeah,
by touching them. Like, I don't know if that's like an Aes Sedai thing or.
Yeah, it's hard to interpret because we don't know much about, like, their powers, but we do know that Aes Sedai can, like, heal, so maybe
That's
you get
true.
some sort of, like, introspection into a person.
Yeah.
But, like, we don't really know much else.
Yeah, just an interesting
little
tidbit. So every elder looks super sad about this whole Treal thing because nothing remains of the Ogier that they knew. Just his body is there, and one of the elders even says that he was a talented tree singer.
Yeah.
So they're still remembering, like, the guy he was, and I just find it interesting that they're letting this guy just walk around
and, like, still be alive.
for 100 years, and, like, clearly there's caretakers.
Caretakers for over 100 years for this trail, and probably forever, because they clearly don't like believe in euthanasia or anything like that. Like, I don't know what you want to call it at this point, but like there's
Put him out of his misery.
Right?
Although he's in no misery. It sounds like you're all in misery.
Well, there's nothing to it, right?
Yeah.
He's a shell, so...
Yeah,
difficult conversation, but I don't see the Ogier doing anything about that, so...
No. So he's brought out of the room, and then Varen says, yeah. Like, whatever the risks, they must find the Horn of Valdir.
Yeah.
And so the elders think that it's pretty bad news that it's been found at all. And that means that the last battle's coming.
Yep.
And that's bad.
It is bad. Yeah.
So, Alar says, very well, I will show you the Waygate. And I just thought, geez, that was easier than I thought.
Well, you know what? Varen has a good point.
Yes.
And the Ogier clearly, like, understand the relevance of the horn being found.
And it's not like they're saying, can you go in with us?
Yeah, it's just like, hey, we're going to go through here.
Yeah.
Point us in the right direction.
We know the risks. Thanks for letting us know.
Yeah. But, I mean, it is a well thought, like, you have to respect that they're not being stubborn about it. Like, there's relevance to why they need to use
That's
it.
true.
So.
And Alar does say that the best decisions are made in calm.
Yeah.
And so, obviously, Varen has had this nice, like, calm, thought-out conversation and let them know that this isn't just like, hey, we're doing this all of a sudden. Although it sort of is. But they must have done a good job of... Yeah. She must have done a good job of explaining...
Plus, she's Aes Sedai. It is funny to note that they don't refer to her as Varen Sedai at any point that we see. So, just because we get that, honorific
But they clearly do respect her and her knowledge.
Oh, yeah.
We do get that. So
just not the formality of the Sedai or anything.
Right. So then Alar adds, you have with you an Ogier named Loyal from Steading Shangtai. He's far from home.
Yeah. We gotta send him back, maybe.
Maybe. It doesn't... I don't know what she's gonna say next because Rand, yells out in her face, we need him! And Perrin says, yeah, he's a friend. And Matt says, he can hold his own weight. He's never a burden or anything.
Yeah, good job, guys. Good argument.
Oh, yeah, they really did it. They stood up for their bud. And as if that's what the elders were worried about, Matt.
Yeah.
That was my thought. Because Matt's like, he can pull his own weight. It's not like... he's in our way.
Yeah. It's like, oh, okay.
Yeah, then he can go.
He can go, yeah.
I was worried he'd get in your way.
Yeah.
What? No, Matt. So, anyways, Varen breaks in and actually says, yes, we actually do need him. He needs to read the guidings for us in the ways.
Yeah.
And I thought, oh, yeah.
That makes sense.
Oh, yeah.
He has to go.
Okay, good. Cool. Good then. So, Alar settles her gaze on Rand and says that he is a very strong Taviran. Even she can feel it, and her talent of feeling Taviran, I guess, is not very strong.
Yeah, well, we kind of got that, Loyal even can sort of, he could tell the signs. They seem a little bit more aware of the pattern and what it can do, and, the Taviran bending the fates or whatever you want to call it, but...
Yes, because then she asks, have you drawn Loyal into...
The web of the pattern.
Yeah, but what is the word?
Yeah, the web of the pattern.
Tamaral Alien. Island.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Tamaral Island.
Tamaral Island.
The web the pattern weaves around you. That's what Loyal's been sucked into.
We've heard of this before.
Oh, goodness.
So.
Okay. Not that by that name, though, have we?
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah, I think we heard it in The Eye of the World. I'm pretty sure.
Okay.
Yeah.
I don't think we did.
I think you glazed over it in the first book too.
It's possible. Okay. So Rand is like, okay, well, I just want to find the horn. And he just sort of ignores her. And then he doesn't continue because he wants to say, I want to find the horn and the dagger. But he doesn't go on about the dagger because he doesn't know if Varen has spoken of it.
Yeah. And it's kind of like, if you don't need to talk about it, then don't.
But, which is interesting because Rand actually has a sense for this kind of thing, and he didn't just blurt it out.
I am Rand from the Two Rivers.
And I'm looking for that dagger from Shatter Logoth that belongs to Mordeth.
Yeah. And he also may have he doesn't do that thing that he usually does.
Yeah, so good for Rand.
Good job, Rand.
Character development.
There you go.
Am I right?
That's what it is.
But then he does say, and Loyal is my friend.
It's like, that friend card I don't think is as strong as you think it is.
Yeah. But Alar says that Loyal can go with them if Rand will look after him and see him safely home to steady Shangtai when the weaving is done.
Yeah. Better bring him home alive.
Yeah, but it says when the weaving is done, so it's like, when's that gonna be?
Well, they know that it's not like a one-way, like a two-way trip there and back, through the ways. Like, they get it.
Yeah.
So
just like get him back there after.
Yeah, after you're done whatever you're gonna do.
And then Rand's just like, yes, ma'am.
All right.
Cool. So they head off to go to the Waygate and find Loyal outside. He is very curious about what happened in there and if he came up. And Rand says that he can come with them.
Yeah.
But then notices that he has a flower in his hand.
Yeah, so sweet.
And so Loyal explains that Aerith picked it for him. And she really is pretty, no matter what Matt says.
Yeah. Not too tall for Loyal.
And then Rand goes, oh, so you don't want to come with us? And he's like, no, what? Yes, I want to come with you. It's just a flower. But then he presses it under his
that's
book
so sweet.
cover.
And she calls him handsome.
Yes.
Ooh.
Yes.
Hey.
And then Matt can't handle this.
So
he's laughing so hard. He doubles over, clutching his sides. Perrin has to smack Matt in the head and be like, no one's ever said that you're handsome.
It's really good that Matt is showing some lightheartedness. He's not grumpy, miserable, cursed Matt.
No, he's completely finding humor in things.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's a positive of this whole. He is rotting on,
that
from
he's
the
been separated
inside
from the
out
dagger.
or whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that part's bad.
Yeah.
But sense of humor is good.
Good.
So Matt says, that's not true. Nasa thinks I'm handsome. She told me so. And Loyal is just so sincere. And I don't even know if he gets that Matt was making fun of him.
He 100% doesn't.
And he's like, oh, is she pretty? That's nice that someone
good.
called you handsome.
Yeah. Well, I have to bring something up because we recorded our Q&A and someone had asked you about who's getting married to who.
Oh, yeah.
And Loyal was one of those characters we talked about if you think that Loyal is going to get married.
Yeah.
And you said yes.
Oh, yeah.
And you said to?
Aerith. Yeah.
So you're calling their wedding is going to be a thing that happens.
Yes.
Okay.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Sooner than later?
No, later.
Later?
Later.
Okay.
They got to go to Tom and Head and stuff. So
do all that stuff?
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
So Rand just loves this. He's smiling to himself, thinking that this is all just like old times, being back at home, and that's nice. That's a nice sentiment before all the other crazy, terrible bad
things
shit
happen.
Goes on.
Yeah.
So Alar leads them to the Waygate, and Rand realizes that they have left the steading, and he suddenly has the feeling of Sidene again.
Yeah, so it's good that he picked up on that.
Yep.
He's starting to become aware of its presence.
He was like, oh, that's what I was missing.
Rand.
Yeah, Rand.
Yeah.
Yeah. So Varen walks up to the Waygate and plucks the Avendosora leaf from the door, and I just think, wait a minute, just like that? Are you even prepared?
Yeah. They're prepared. They're ready to go.
Do you have lanterns
Let's
and
get going.
everything?
They probably stocked up way back in Kyrian.
Nope.
Yep. Ready to go. Let's do this thing.
No, we didn't even talk about the lanterns.
Pulling a Leroy Jenkins here and just charging in.
Sure. What?
Yeah.
Okay.
That reference isn't for you.
Clearly.
That's okay.
Okay. So, anyways, I don't think that they're prepared. And if they are, it is not mentioned. But anyways, it doesn't even fucking matter. So, as the doors start to open, Rand sees that the entrance is all black and not the dull silvery reflection, and he just shouts, "Close it! It's the Black Wind! Close it!" And so Varen shoves the leaf back in, and the doors close.
Yeah, so we got to talk about this sequence of events because this is important for a couple reasons.
Yeah, it's bad.
Yeah, one is that you had this kind of little, theory going on that there was no, shimmery force field or whatever in front of the other Waygate, which is why the Black Wind tried to, escape when Rand opened it.
Yeah.
And, lost the key in the grass, and then Loyal had to find it. It was a whole big thing.
Yeah.
But in this Waygate, there also doesn't seem to be that, silver reflection.
Yeah.
But it doesn't seem to come out.
Well, I think... This is what I thought when I read it. So Rand says, weird, it didn't try to leave this time.
Yeah.
And Varen says, I told you, it's a creature of the ways, it can't leave. And Rand doesn't argue with her that last time it did leave.
Yeah.
But I think that when the doors were opening in Kyrian, the doors were opening and Rand was too like confused at what was going on, that the doors were opening wider, and then the black wind started to come out, and that's when he got flustered, and it was able to come out more because they couldn't get the door shut.
Yeah.
And I think here, like the second it was starting to open, Rand saw it was black and was like, close the doors. So maybe it didn't have a chance.
Yeah, so that would be the two big factors. Is one, the doors didn't open enough for it to try to get out, and then two would be like Rand's physical proximity. Like he was way closer in Kyrian because he opened the door.
Yeah.
Here he's further away because Varen opened it.
Right.
So like maybe that has something to do with it not trying to like grab him, basically.
Yeah, because it was coming after him saying it's his name.
Because it wants him, and we didn't get any of the speech yet here.
Yeah.
So we don't see that. So maybe it wasn't open enough, like you said.
Yeah, I think it's what you said.
Okay.
That it wants Rand, and it wasn't close enough. It didn't see Rand, so it didn't come out.
Yeah, like it could be a combination of those two things.
Why is it here? I feel my whole thing was it's here because it sensed Rand.
Yeah.
It like followed Rand.
It definitely seems that way, especially with the following conversation. My big point was like it doesn't seem like the force field thingy is a real thing. Like there wasn't like a missing force field in the Kyrian gate.
Unless it's now missing
here as well, or everywhere. So okay, ooh, we'll have to watch for way gates.
Conspiracy theory.
Yeah.
Okay.
But let's talk about this because we get some dialogue.
Yeah. So Varen wonders at the Black Wind being here, and then gives Rand sort of this look.
Yeah.
And Rand's like, "Me? You think it's me?"
Yeah. Well, maybe Varen even heard something. Like she was close enough. Maybe she heard it saying Althor, so that could be a reason.
Yep.
Or because he's the Dragon Reborn.
Yeah, that too.
Yeah.
Yeah. So Alar is like, "Well, you can't go now. Sorry, not sorry. The ways, belong to the shadow now. Guess you can't travel."
Yeah, sorry guys.
Sorry guys.
Time to go.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And Rand wonders to himself, but thinks about how he has to get to Tom and Head. And even if they found the horn and the dagger sitting under a bush tomorrow, he would still have to follow Fane, and he knows it.
Yeah, he's got some good questions. He says, had Fane somehow ordered the Black Wind? And then if he had, then why would Fane demand he follow and then leave the Black Wind there when he clearly wants Rand to follow? And we had those questions last chapter too, so...
Well, when we saw Fane at the High Lord's place, he was like, he's a day or two behind me.
Fane 100% believes that Rand is coming a day or two behind him.
Yeah.
He would not tell Turak that if he didn't think it was happening. So it may be Fane's fault somehow that the Black Wind is like now attached to Rand.
Yes, I definitely think that.
But it doesn't seem intentional by Fane.
Yeah, the only thing, I have a crazy theory.
Okay, go.
That the Black Wind tried to get Fane again.
Yeah.
Except when he got him and it spit him out.
Yeah.
This time, it's possible he got Fane's soul and left more death only in Fane's body.
Oh,
and so
wow.
The Black
Wind is now basically Fane's soul?
Fane's soul, and Fane's soul is like
pursuing Rand.
Taking over somehow.
Well, we know that Fane has that like urge to find Rand.
It's just all that crap in Falma that we saw was really, really more death-like. The whole making the world pay and wanting to crush the White Tower and wanting to be next to whoever was in power.
Because he does really well in those situations.
Yeah, it was very, very more death-like. So, like, maybe the Black Wind is Fane now.
So the Black Wind has an essence of Fane that's hunting Rand. I get what you're coming from. I get what you're coming from.
It's so bad.
Yeah.
Like, there's no fucking way. I don't know. It's just, it's all so stupid. It's one of those things where it doesn't really make sense until the last chapter, and then it's gonna make sense. I hope anyway.
Okay.
Because if I have to go on and read like 4 more books until this makes sense, I'm gonna be mad.
Or you'll never find out. Ooh,
oh my
okay.
gosh.
Yeah.
Anyway, okay. So that's, the crazy thing I have to say for right now. And Perrin speaks up and he says, maybe we can try another Waygate. And Loyal speaks up about some steadings being kind of close to here.
Yeah, kind of, sort of.
The closest ones are in Camelin And then Tarvalin is actually the closest way gate to here.
Yeah. Yeah.
But Varen just says, nope, wherever they go, the Black Wind will be there waiting.
Yeah.
Like, she is sure of this.
Yeah, and it kind of makes sense because of Rand.
Yes.
Rand's the dragon. He's messing everything up for everybody else.
Uh-huh, yep.
So.
And Hurin says, hey, what we need is one of those handy portal stones.
Yeah.
And I thought,
no.
fuck. Shit, no. God, no. No.
Yeah, this is a total Michael Scott moment.
No.
Yeah.
Oh.
You know what's? You skimmed over real quick. Ingtar is still having a really bad time.
Oh, Ingtar's having a very bad
He's
time.
having a bad time because he's like, you led me here and now I have to go back and
Yeah.
Yeah. He's having a bad time.
So Varen says, hey, yeah, maybe actually, but we can't just like find a portal stone. We don't know where they are. Unless, Rand, you can find the one you used back in those mountains.
Yeah, she knows of one in the Aiel Waste, but we ain't going there.
No.
So.
And Rand's like, yeah.
I can
find it, but only for Matt.
Yeah.
And he is like super reluctant, but he will have to use the power again, but he's also a little eager to use it, but he's afraid to use it. It's this whole love-hate relationship.
Yeah.
So Alara's standing there, and she's like, I don't get it. I thought no one knew how to use a portal stone.
I love Varen's answer to this, too. I gotta say it. It's fantastic. It's
the
like
Brown
quintessential.
Aja know a lot of things.
Yeah, quintessential Aes Sedai answer.
Yeah.
Brown Aja knows lots of stuff.
And Alara just like nods.
I know how the stones may be used.
And says, oh, you Aes Sedai knowing so many things.
You guys are so smart.
Yeah.
Yeah, and Varen's just like, I know Rand.
Yeah.
So that's it.
And so she goes, if you need a portal stone, you don't have to go to Kinslayer's dagger. There's one right over here.
Oh, and it's just like, points over there, let's go.
It's right there.
Yeah.
Didn't you notice? And then they all look.
Oh yeah, there it is.
And so, turns out the wheel weaves as the wheel wills, and the pattern provides what is needful. So let's go.
Yeah, it's two methods of transportation which you are not very fond of,
Nope.
and we've attempted one, and we're gonna go do the other.
You know, I don't know which one is worse.
Yeah. At this point, knowing what we know after this next chapter,
I think the portal stone's worse.
yeah.
Worse. Definitely that one's bad.
Yeah.
I didn't think it had to be, though. So let's get into it, because I have some things
Okay.
for this.
And keep in mind, this is one of my top 10 favorite chapters.
I'm going to do my best to just, like, tear it apart.
But when you do, I just want you to really, really focus on the fact that it is important. I like the important chapters, and this is, without being super spoilery, it is important.
Okay.
Especially because of the quote I gave you.
So all of my super vague summaries are going to annoy you?
Probably.
Okay.
We're going to break them down.
All right.
Well, maybe not the summaries. We'll see. Let's get into it.
Okay, so chapter 37, what might be. And there is a portal stone picture.
Yeah.
Fitting. Okay.
For portal stones.
For the portal stones.
Yeah.
Okay, so we pick up where we left off, and they are heading to the portal stone. Everyone seems to be more excited about this idea than, like, traveling the ways.
It's, like, kind of better.
No, it's not. They just don't know what it is.
In theory, it is a better way.
In theory, if you know how to do it and there isn't a potential to just be dead.
Yeah, but, you know, there's a potential to be dead with the ways, too. So, like...
Yeah. Whatever. Okay. So, everyone's excited except for Rand. So, he knows that Varen doesn't plan to use this stone on her own. So, he's a little apprehensive.
Yeah, because the whole Sidene thing.
Right. So they come up to a tall stone column. So it's not just like the butt of a stone in the ground, like the other ones we saw. So that's probably good because the symbols are visible.
Yeah.
And we learned that you need to visualize
the symbol to
get somewhere.
Yeah. That's like one part of it, I guess.
Yeah. So Alar explains that when they found it many years ago, it was on its side and they stood it upright, but it resisted being moved.
Yeah, which is kind of interesting that they could stand it upright or it could be knocked down, but it doesn't want to move from that spot.
Yeah.
So it's like tied somehow to the world
magically.
In this location. Yeah.
Okay. So all the Shinarians are there, and they arrange themselves in like a circle around the stone, and the Ogier leave.
Yeah.
They're like, we've had enough.
But they do have an important point where they say they do not think that Tarmin Gaiden will pass them by.
No.
So this isn't going to blow over. And it's such a big, like, Lord of the Rings moment. If you remember in the movies, and you probably don't because we haven't watched them yet, but when Merry and Pippin go to the Ents and they're like, you got to help us fight. And then the Ents are like, oh, you know, we're not going to do that. And then Merry and Pippin are like, but you're part of this world. Like, it's not just going to go away. And the Ents are like, okay, we're going to fight.
Cool.
So
same.
That's what this is like.
It is like that.
Yeah.
So Ingtar starts up his doubtful stuff again.
Yep.
And Varen says, hush. And he says, okay.
And they clearly don't know that Barthanes has been murdered.
No, they don't know that.
Yeah.
Oh, right, because Ingtar, I didn't write this down, but yeah, Ingtar goes, I can go back, I can talk to Barthanes about stuff.
Yeah.
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 That's why, okay.
But he's dead.
Dead.
Yeah.
Dead as a decapitated guy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's pretty dead.
It's really, very dead. So, Varen then says, Rand has traveled by Portal Stone more recently than I, so come with me.
Again, I love the wordplay.
And so they go over to the Portal Stone, out of earshot from the rest, and Rand goes, oh good, you've traveled like this before, so you don't mean for me to? And she's like, what? She stares at him blankly and goes, I've never traveled by Portal Stone. That is why your use is more recent than mine.
It's so funny
and I
because...
go, Trixie Aes Sedai truths.
But, I mean, it's a good plan. Like, she's totally making this work so that Rand doesn't expose himself as the person to, like, be doing it.
Yeah.
It's like a good plan, and he doesn't get it at all.
Yeah, but it's just more exposure to Trixie Aes Sedai's.
Oh, yeah.
And
their
the
wordplay.
way they say things.
Yeah.
Yeah. And Rand's like, God damn it. So...
So good.
She also says she would burn herself out and like destroy herself using the stone. Like she is not nearly powerful enough, but she knows enough to help him.
Yeah. And it's good that she knows some things.
Yes.
Like this does help.
Yeah. So the only thing Rand remembers about traveling before is the symbol for their world, and he doesn't see it here.
Yeah.
And Varen goes, yeah, that makes sense. You can't see it here because this is a stone in our world.
Obviously.
Duh.
It's not like an elevator.
Yeah.
Whereas there's buttons for every floor.
You know what? I actually had that thought. That was seriously something I thought about because there's a button for the floor you're on. It doesn't take you anywhere.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And Rand obviously has never even seen an elevator. Jeez. Okay.
So these symbols are for transporting you to other worlds. And Varen says that she really wants to talk to this girl of Rand's.
Yeah, Celine.
Or,
so smart.
Better yet, she wants to get her hands on a copy of this book.
Yeah.
Mirrors of the Wheel. Because it is thought to be believed that no copies survived the breaking of the world.
Completely. No whole copies.
Ooh.
So like in parts. So maybe Celine has like a half a book or like a book without a cover.
No.
Or like your first, Eye of the World version of the book that it looks like now all torn apart. So, there's a possibility that it survived.
There is no possibility.
Okay. Oh my God. Okay.
Literally none. 0% chance that happened.
None percent.
None.
Good.
So... we learn that the symbols at the top of the stone are to get you to other worlds, and the symbols at the bottom of the stones get you to other stones in this world. Cool.
Yeah, and not necessarily just other stones in this world. Like, you use the combination of top and bottom to go to other stones in other worlds, or other stones in this world, or this stone in other worlds. So, like, you use a combination.
Oh, I didn't get that.
Yeah.
I thought, this is easy. Just pick the symbol you want.
Yeah.
And you get to travel just over there to those stones.
Yeah, hypothetically, if you know the trick of it, Varen says, you could do that. The issue is that just like traveling, nobody knows how it's done.
Wouldn't the trick be, and here's just like me thinking like
Sure.
a really smart, logical channeler.
Totally.
If I know the symbol of our world.
Yeah.
And I know the symbol of a portal stone on Tom and Head.
Yeah.
Couldn't I think of this symbol from our world and the symbol there and then, like, just get there?
Possibly. Maybe.
Sounds
Maybe you're
like-
super smart.
I am.
Maybe are you Celine and have you read that book?
Yeah.
Okay, there you go.
That's my secret.
All right. Yeah, but that's the thing, that there does seem to be like a huge connection between traveling and the portal stones and the ways and all this,
definitely.
but it's just nobody really
It's all
knows.
lost. It's
Yeah.
all lost information. Rand is very afraid to channel, but yet he hungers for it and he really wants to do it. So we keep getting this over and over, and Varen says that she knows some of the symbols. So one is actually for the stone on Tom and Head.
Yeah, that's fortunate.
And it is the only stone she's ever visited.
Which is like a total...
Super convenient.
Yeah, or as Varen would say, how providential.
Yeah.
Like, I had to throw that in there.
Yeah,
so.
no, that's good. And she said she learned nothing from visiting it.
Yeah.
So great.
Yeah.
Varen asks Rand if he plays dice or cards, and he says, no, Matt's the gambler.
Yeah.
And she says that we will have to just take a wild guess and see what happens. So this is where I started to lose my attitude a little bit. Probably mostly because I didn't quite understand everything that was going on.
Okay.
But I thought, why do we have to take a wild guess if we know the symbol for the stone on Tom and Head? That's where we want to go. That's the symbol we know. Why do we have to just pick one at random?
Yeah, it's because of the things of the ways of how to use the stones.
Uh-huh.
You can't just do it with one, turns out.
But Rand did when he wanted to travel back to the world.
Yeah, but we don't really know exactly how that worked in itself, too.
I think that would be the best place to start, and it not just literally going eeny, meeny, miny, mo.
What Varen is relying on here is his, like, Rand's Taviran-ness pulling the group in the direction that they need to go.
Yeah.
Like, that's what she's doing, is she's giving as little information as possible so that she can say, okay, Rand, choose, and then hope that the pattern corrects itself. Which, is not a terrible game plan.
And it sort of does, but...
It sort of does, but, yeah, there's a whole lot of stuff we can talk about in that sense.
Anyway, it annoyed me because it really didn't seem like it had to be a gamble to me. Like, I didn't get that it was an entire process. I thought it was visualize a symbol and get there.
Yeah, it doesn't seem to be that simple.
Well, maybe that's the problem. So this is where Varen explains that there are a bajillion worlds and most of them can kill you.
Yep.
So Varen put it all on Rand. Like, this is all on you to choose, Rand. Like, I am not doing this for you.
Yeah, and that's, again, her influencing would be bad because she's not a Taviran.
Yeah. And so this is where he sort of says, hey, Varen, sometimes I can't even use the power. Sometimes it's there, but I can't touch it. And what if it does work? What if I take us to a world that we can't breathe in? How will that help?
Yeah.
She's like, relax, dude. You're the Dragon Reborn. So, sure, you can die, but you won't until the pattern is done with you. And then he growls about not being the Dragon Reborn, and he won't be used as a false dragon. And it's like, not now, Rand.
Yeah.
Focus. Focus here. She's like, whatever. You are what you are. Enough of this. Let's do this thing.
Yeah.
Let's do the damn thing.
Pick a symbol. Let's go.
Let's go. So Varen tells everyone to come closer. She puts her hands on the stone and then side-eyes Rand and is like, eh?
Yeah, she's doing like
Yeah.
a little bit of showmanship, like to
Yes.
throw the cloak back. And it's like, get ready for it. I'm going to do the channeling. It's like, Rand, come on.
Yeah.
Do your thing now.
Yeah. So Rand just chooses a symbol at frickin' random.
No, he has logic to it.
He chooses a circle with an arrow sticking out, but the arrow's pointing west.
In the
So
direction
he's like,
that he wants to
we
go.
want to go west. Easy. So I think that was stupid. And at the very least, he could have chose the symbol of Tom and Head. That's where they want to go, and she knows that one.
There's more than two. He has to choose like the two symbols, like the Tom and Head and the other world. Because I think what their plan is to like get to the other rock in the Portal Stone world on Tom and Head, and then zap back.
Yeah.
Like do a twofer instead of just going in a straight shot.
Yeah, I don't know. It was all confusing, and then therefore stupid.
Yeah.
So, whatever. He chooses this circle. He gets the void, touches sight in, sees the symbol, and it shimmers and then flickers, and then Varen says, "Something's happening."
Yeah, so this is like cueing the flicker sequence, and this is a super famous flicker sequence.
Super famous.
Super famous.
Okay, flicker, flicker, flicker,
Flicker, flicker, flicker sequence.
Okay.
Yeah.
So,
going forward, when we think back, this is the flicker sequence.
Flicker sequence.
Yeah.
So, the world flickers, and we are back to Tam and Rand in the farmhouse on winter night.
Yeah.
With the Trollocs busting in, except instead of throwing the kettle at the Trollocs' face and distracting it, Rand drops the kettle, and the Trollocs come in and kill Tam, and he runs over to help his father, and then a Trolloc sword goes through his chest, and he dies, and then he hears the words, "I have won again, Lews Therin."
And then flicker back.
And then Rand struggles to hold the symbol, and he hears Varen say, "Is not..."
Yeah, okay, so we gotta pause here.
Okay.
You can't blow through these.
Okay.
These are
fine.
important.
Okay, fine.
So, thinking again, what we're in right now is the Portalstone world where we get to see a scene of what could have been if something had happened a little bit differently.
Yes.
We had gotten that very, like, prophetic line, like, if you turn the wrong corner, right? One little thing that changes is going to completely alter the timeline.
Yes.
So this is one of the things that happens here, and this voice at the very end, "I have won again, Lews Therin," is who?
Beelzemon.
Okay. Yeah, I just want to see...
Or Alon, or
Okay.
whoever. You know, prologue guy.
Yeah, the guy who's like locked in a, forever battle against Lews Therin.
Yeah, it's Beelzemon, whoever that guy is.
Okay,
Yeah.
yeah, that's totally fair. And it's just kind of like interesting to see what could have happened and what does happen in this alternate reality.
Yeah, they just die.
They just die, and then Beelzemon wins.
Yeah.
So, flicker back, and Varen is having a little bit of a tiff.
Saying, something is not something. So then there's another flicker, and we get a new scene. And in this scene, Rand is married to Egwene, and he's having crazy, crazy mood swings. The Shan-Chen have taken over, destroyed the White Tower completely. There are no more Aes Sedai, but it doesn't matter in the Two Rivers. Life just goes on as normal. Egwene is the wisdom now. And her cures are the only one that basically keep Rand alive from the sickness that keeps taking him.
Yeah, so that's like the Sidene corrupting him, basically.
Yes, yeah. And so Egwene eventually dies, and then the Trollocs and Fades come down from the Blight, and everyone from the Two Rivers goes to battle, including weak old Rand, who dies, and then he hears the voice, "I have won again, Lews Therin."
Yeah, and it's kind of interesting to see a different perspective of like Rand growing up and getting old, and then the Shan-Chen like taking control of the world and still not being able to fight back the Fades and the Trollocs,
yeah.
right? And that's kind of huge because we know how powerful the Shan-Chen are.
Yeah.
But in this world, it doesn't go so well.
But they can't beat the Dark One.
Yeah, they can't beat the Dark One. And then this is kind of the other point here is that this is Rand. Although we're getting a snippet and like a fast forward, Rand is seeing and living his entire life in each of these sequences.
Yeah. I thought it was interesting because, so the symbol flickers and the world flickers, and then we get Varen completing her sentence.
Yes.
So to me, I actually thought that this is a really interesting way to show these sequences because it felt like each sequence, he's seeing the entire thing happen in like a blink.
Yeah.
And that's sort of like the blink sequence.
Yeah.
But
yeah.
that he's seeing all of this stuff happen in like a second.
Yeah. I agree.
And then it flickers, and then he's back, and Varen is finishing her sentence still.
Yeah.
Right?
So it's like, and time is relative in that sense, because if Rand can experience an entire lifetime within a second, these guys are experiencing 1,000 lives within the span of like their one lifetime. It's going to really affect how you live your life a lot of the time, because like if you got to experience your life, if you got 1,000 redos, right, how is that going to change how you live your life now?
Right.
So
the symbol flickers to a different one, the wavy parallel lines of Tom and Head.
Yes.
And that sort of goes against what Rand is trying to do.
Yeah.
Because he fights against it and wants the other symbol back.
So he's doing something wrong.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It seems that way. So Varen is saying, like, something isn't right, something, and then the power rages and everything flickers again. So in this version, Egwene dies a week before their wedding. Tam teaches Rand to use the sword and then sends him away. Rand meets Min in Baerlon after getting, like, robbed. Then makes his way to Caemlyn, and his talent with his sword earns him a place in the Queen's Guard. Elaine marries someone else, but Rand stares at her a lot. He gets a reputation as a man with violent moods, so that's a carryover from the other.
Yeah, the taint of Sidene seems to be something that is pretty consistent in each of these.
It is, and so that's something that I found interesting that we can talk about, because I keep having the question, what does it look like to go mad?
Yeah.
What is the actual effect of the taint on men who aren't gentled?
Yeah.
So it seems that this whole violent mood swing thing and this wasting sickness.
So like the anger, the mood swings, you start doing stuff and channeling even if you don't want to.
Yeah.
Right? And it seems to be for a couple of years or for a long time.
Yeah.
But
in this scenario, though, Rand learns he can channel, and he uses it sometimes in battles to his advantage. And he knows he's mad, but he doesn't care. A wasting sickness comes over him, but he doesn't care. He leads 1,000 men over the mountains of mist against the invaders. So
the
Shanshan. That's for sure happening.
That also seems to be pretty consistent.
Yeah. And then then a bunch of stuff happens. He's then using, like, lightning bolts from the sky, his channeling, to fight against the Shanshan, and then he dies.
Yeah.
And he hears, I win again, lose Theron, and then the world flickers, and he struggles to hold on to any symbol at this point, and Varen is screaming that something is wrong, and the power is everything for him, and then there are like 1,000,000 flickers, and he sees himself as everything.
Yeah, this is some of the most powerful writing too, because you get all these different lives that he gets to live and see and experience, and in all of these,
without it being too much. I think, you know what I mean? Like,
yeah, like, to mentally break you completely, but
no,
like it seriously has
I meant too
an
much
effect.
writing.
Oh yeah.
Because if we went on this chapter for even 5 more pages explaining each version of his life, it's gonna start to get to be like, I get it.
Yeah. He's
living all his lives. I get it. If something changes, something different happens. I get it. The same things happen to him. It would get kind of repetitive and boring. And so it almost gets to a point where Robert Jordan does a really great job of summarizing and wrapping up that Rand is experiencing like thousands of lives, but he does it without explaining each life.
Yeah, which is, we're thankful for that. So, although, I would totally read it.
I know you would.
But, I mean, some of the cool things are like when Moraine does come or doesn't come, or it's like the Red Aja comes for him. And then the really cool part about, like, Egwene is the one who gentles him or kills him, or she's the Amerlin, and all these different crazy things.
Yeah.
So...
yeah, there's sometimes he's executed, sometimes he proclaims himself Dragon Reborn.
Yeah.
Sometimes he runs away, and it's like literally every variation that his life could be.
And what's crazy is that in every single one of these alternate timelines or lives,
he dies.
He
hears, I have won again, lose Theron.
Yeah, so like he always loses if that is him losing.
Yeah.
Right? Because again, if this is Baal-Zaman and he's the father of lies, and is it really lose Theron losing?
Yeah.
So
I would say yes.
Yeah, but then again,
really lose Theron losing.
Are these real timelines?
Right.
Right. So that's the other question.
Alternate.
Yeah.
That's the difference.
But
right? Like
how
that's
real
the thing.
are they?
That's why I don't like talking about that sci-fi stuff. That's why these portal stones annoy me so much. I didn't like when they were in the portal stone world, because the whole alternate universe thing, there's no real set of rules that anyone can follow, and it's just sort of like made up. So anything could be real, anything could happen, and that stresses my brain out. I don't love that.
Yeah, well, it stresses every single person's brain out here too, so...
Okay.
Yeah.
So the void vanishes, and Sidene falls away, and Rand falls to the ground, and he becomes aware of everyone else, either lying on the ground or sitting on the ground. Someone vomits. Matt is curled up in a ball. Perrin has his fingers dug into his face like he's trying to scratch out his eyes.
Yep.
And everyone is doing bad.
Yes, very bad.
So at that point, I thought, oh shit, this happened to everyone.
It did, yeah.
Because I really, really, truly thought that this was only happening to Rand.
Okay.
And I was like, how is he going to explain this to everyone? Like, because
Yeah.
this is a crazy psychological thing that's happened.
That every single one of these guys just went through.
Yeah.
And that's the whole big thing.
Including all the, like, Shinerian guards.
Yeah.
Literally everyone.
Everyone gets to experience what could have been.
Some of them are crying, vomiting.
Yeah.
Like, crazy.
Yeah.
And so Rand is just like, what happened? And Varen says a surge of the one power, but he must learn to control it because that much power could burn him to a cinder. And Rand realizes that all of them have seen all of their lives that could have been.
Yeah. Uh-oh.
And so he thinks of the whole lose Theron thing, and then he thinks, no, I'm Rand al'Thor. Okay, bud.
Yeah.
Like, there's got to be a couple puzzle pieces you put together here, and that's one of them.
Mm-hmm.
That's a big one, buddy.
That he is both?
Yeah, that he's the Dragon Reborn. Like,
Yeah.
that's a big, big, big sign. Like, literally pointing to you
Well,
saying...
he's in denial. That's what it is.
I know.
So, and the thing about people in denial is that they deny it.
Is that they're in denial.
Yeah.
I get it. I know. But it's just like, for how long
That's a
is
good
he
question.
going to be in denial for?
That's a really good question.
Because he's finally at the point where he's accepting that he can channel. Because that, for a while, he was denying.
Yeah. Well, maybe. And again, this kind of comes back to the whole, if you could look at your life 1,000 times over and every single time, we might see some personality shifts going forward.
Yeah.
Like, maybe this will help him accept the fact that he's the Dragon Reborn.
Yeah.
If in 1,000 variations, he hears that he is Luce Theron.
Right. And if we truly believe in this whole wheel weaving, pattern webbing business,
Yeah.
then we have to believe that this happened for a reason.
Yeah.
This happened to further the journey of these Ta'veren.
Yeah.
Right?
So hopefully.
Okay, so Rand looks around, and Varen says they made it here to Tom and Head. Just not as she would have hoped, because at first I was like, oh, cool. That's super convenient. I'm glad it was a gamble, but it's exactly where they wanted to go, and it sort of annoyed me.
Yeah.
Because I was like, that is annoying, that it's exactly where they needed to be, but... Then she says...
The better question is, when are we?
Yeah, so they easily spent 4 months coming here. I just thought, huh? How? What?
Time shift.
Okay,
Yeah.
but Matt's not dead.
Matt's not dead.
So
they only took like a second to travel.
Yeah.
But the
rest
world
of the world
moved 4 months along.
Right.
So the implications of that
Are bad.
Well, we can talk about that if you want to.
It doesn't sound like it's good.
Well, we have a whole cast and crew of other characters who have lived 4 months now.
Yeah, I know.
We've got
Try
Jamin
putting a timeline together now,
Oh,
Danielle.
Good luck.
God.
Where's the moon cycles to help you out?
Yeah.
Yeah. Throw it all in the garbage.
Yeah, I know.
But now we've got like Thane who told
yeah, that's
Turak.
the biggest one. That's the biggest one
Yeah.
I'm curious about. That and Moraine.
Moraine. Okay, Moraine and Lan.
Yeah, that one is less important because they're just there for like years.
They're
to
in
be
training.
Aes Sedai. Like, who cares?
Yeah.
The whole Min thing is interesting, but like,
You
I'm
want to
less
see
im-
more lessons? Yeah.
No, but I know the next chapter is called Practice.
Oh, good.
So
Yeah.
whatever. It
That'll
doesn't
go
matter.
well.
This though, I'm concerned about the whole Fade thing and what's been happening with the Shan-Chen.
Yep. They've had 4 months to kind of sink their heels in.
And where actually is the horn now? Did it go back to Shan-Chen?
Who knows?
Because how long was the High Lord guy Turek gonna be here?
And how about the White Cloaks doing all their nasty
all
business?
of their
Yeah.
stuff. All of their
Okay.
stuff.
So 4 months.
Yeah, and the White Cloaks are doing all their stuff right where they've landed, it turns out.
Yeah,
It seems, anyway.
it does.
So Varen says that Rand must let her guide him. She can't teach him, but hopefully she can stop him from killing himself and the rest of us.
Yeah, I get that she's a little bit frustrated here.
Yeah.
Like, no one liked that, and I'm sure she didn't, necessarily like all
I think
her
that
variations.
this is actually best case scenario.
Okay, in what sense?
Well, he could have taken them to a world
Oh, like
that
the
they
alternative
died
of
in.
dying, yeah.
He could have also taken
The air's made of lava. Oh.
Yeah, he could have taken them to a world
Yeah.
where time didn't really speed up. And they thought, okay, cool, we're in another world. Let's walk to Tom and Head. It'll take us a couple weeks, but it doesn't.
And then Matt dies somewhere
And
in
then
the
Matt
Portal Stone
dies.
worlds.
Like, it literally could have... And then they can't find another Portal Stone. Like, things could have gone terribly.
Yeah. So now
They
it's
could have
just going to
showed
be...
up in another world and then seen themselves... Like, that's the whole thing about these alternate universes that I hate so much.
Yeah,
So,
okay.
there were so many terrible, terrible things that could have happened. The only issue I'm having right now is that this chapter ends and we don't see anybody else.
Yeah.
And we are not 100% guaranteed that we're actually in their world.
Okay.
So
Okay, I get that.
I mean, it would be nice if they're in their world but just 4 months ahead.
Yep.
I mean, that still really sucks. That's terrible and made me super angry, and I was mad at the plot.
So let's talk about these reactions.
Okay.
Because I want to talk about the specifics of the people, of what they're each going through.
Yeah. So she goes around to go heal everyone, and then Rand goes to see his friends. So Matt immediately says to Rand, I would never tell people about you. I would never betray you. And he just looks terrible. But Rand thinks it's mostly due to fright. Like he's scared.
Yeah.
And that's why he looks so pale and awful. And less about, the whole dying thing. And I think it's good that he's still alive if it's been 4 months.
Yeah. Well, again, time for
Yes.
them hasn't changed.
I get that now.
So, yeah. But it also seems like if Matt lived out 1,000 of his lives, it's a very possible thing that he could have given up Rand.
Lots
right?
of times.
Tons of times. Yeah, because Matt was not really on board at the very beginning either.
No, and Perrin then says, we don't really have many choices, do we, Rand? Whatever we do, some things are almost always the same.
And he's talking about the wolves.
He's talking about the wolves, but that makes me think about what Matt just said.
Okay.
I would never give you up. I would never betray you, but there's already been several slips that he's said. So maybe if that was consistent with Matt, even though he never wants to betray Rand, maybe that's what inevitably happens.
Yeah, like by accident or whatever maybe. So, yeah, but it is interesting that the whole Perrin thing, the wolves, seem to be as consistent as like Rand channeling, right? The Sidene thing. Yeah. So that's always
and
the same
that one
too.
I could have guessed.
You skipped over how bad of a time Ingtar's having.
Yeah.
He needs to find the horn.
Yeah, he really...
It doesn't sound like he's very good at finding the horn.
No.
Yeah. Because he's like, I'm going to find it, and I'm going to pull down Shale Ghul's power. So...
Sure.
Yeah.
Okay.
Sorry, man.
So, Rand tells them that they've made it to Tom and Head, but it's autumn. So they miss summer. Sad. I love summer.
Yeah. Shoot.
But Matt says, well, how are we going to find Fane and the dagger now? He could be anywhere by now. But Rand says, he's here... And he hopes he's right. Because if he's wrong, that means Fane got tired of waiting for him and went to Emmons Field to hurt Emmons Fielders.
And murdered everyone in Emmons Field?
No. He's gonna take one or two to torture them.
Oh.
Because he wants Rand to know.
Right. Okay.
Yeah.
So what do you think happened?
I think Fane's still here.
You think Fane's still here?
Yeah, I think he's here, and I think he's under Turek's watch.
Okay.
I don't think he's allowed to leave without Turek saying you can leave.
Has he he's had 4 months to kind of worm his way in too, so.
Yeah, I actually don't know.
Okay.
So Varen heals Perrin and Matt, but Rand jerks away and says, I don't want any Aes Sedai help. And she says, okay, as you wish,
man.
bud. Yeah. And so then she tells them that they can't waste daylight and they have to head west. So they head off, and Rand just hopes he's not too late.
Yeah.
Yep.
So.
I think this is actually going to be quite difficult because I don't think that they're aware of how much violence is actually going on in this territory.
Yeah.
And if they're going to try to use Hurin sniffing to find the Dark Friends and stuff, I think they're going to have a hard time because I think a lot of places, all the White Cloaks who've been doing all this murder, and all that stuff, and all the Shanchins just randomly murdering people and stuff. I think it's going to smell really bad, and I think that there's going to be no real trail.
Yeah, whatever trail they might have had is 4 months gone. So.
Yeah, so now it's just sort of a crapshoot.
Yeah. So they're going to head west. Hopefully something comes of it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
I really just hope that they're actually in their world.
Yeah.
I really don't think that that's the twist here, because that's just another layer of something.
That'd be another layer to get back again to the real world.
Yeah,
like,
and
they're
I
not
feel like
gonna
we've already gone wandering in a portal world, and I don't need to see it again.
Yeah, so it does seem like they are back in the real world. It's just the time lapse is the issue.
Yeah.
So, like, Thane and Turek and Damin, right? He's still having a tough time probably in Falma.
Right.
Right, they've got 4 months ahead. We've got the girls in training.
Yeah, my biggest concern going forward is if we're going to get a perspective from somebody else over there, Damin, Thane, Turek, White Cloaks.
Yep.
And we're not going to get a timeline of, like, when these things have happened. And that's, like, my biggest thing that I'm going to be frustrated with if that happens.
Well, hopefully things work out.
Yeah, I really want things to turn around, because I don't want to leave reading feeling as frustrated as I did here. Because this was annoying to me.
That's fair. But it's important. And I just need you to remember going forward, remember how important this is. Okay.
I can do that.
Okay.
And I'm going to go read so that we can carry on moving forward. And I'm going to say that this is part of the pattern now.
Yeah, it's part of the pattern.
Thank you for listening to this episode. The Wheel Weaves is hosted by Dani and Brett, edited by Dani, produced by Dani and Brett, with Derek Benton, Benjamin, Kyle Smith, Joe Lott, Passion Socks, Moltude, and Mozyme. Music by Audionautics.com. If you'd like bonus content, like bonus episodes, outtakes, Q&As, more fun Wheel of Time talk, early access, cool stickers and keychains, and also to support us making great content, visit us at patreon.com/thewheelweavespodcast. Don't forget to check us out on Instagram and Twitter at The Wheel Weaves Podcast. We love interacting with our listeners. Plus, don't forget to rate, subscribe, and tell a friend about us, because referrals really are the best compliment. We'd really love for you to come over and join our Discord channel for some spoiler or spoiler-free discussions. You can find the links at our Twitter page as well as on our Patreon page. Thanks again for tuning in, because this really is part of the pattern now.